go, it's the Poff Poff Pass Show. You didn't know, it's the Poff Poff Pass Show. Me and my bro, it's the Poff Poff Pass Show. We do it, bro, it's the Poff Poff Pass Show. It's Poff.
Yo, what's good? Another episode of Poff Poff Pass is here for you. I'm Zack Poff. Got JT Blaze in the building. We got a lot on tap, man. You got March Madness around the corner, so we'll hit you with a little trivia later. But the thing I can't wait forward to is UFC 299, obviously Saturday night. But Major League Baseball right around the corner. We're going to hit you with some predictions. Yeah. And with that, let's get started, Jake. What are you most looking forward to with this baseball season coming up here?
Of course, the Dodgers, baby. Signed everyone we could get our hands on, including the best player in baseball, Mr. Ohtani. Magic's about to happen. Look how happy and excited I am. It's not even close to the end of spring training yet. I cannot wait for baseball.
Yeah, speaking with that, then, let's go ahead and start with our MLB predictions for this season. We'll start with division by division and then hit you with the World Series prediction, then go and do MVPs and Rookie of the Years and all of that too.
Perfect.
So NL West, I feel like this one's pretty easy. And the Los Angeles Dodgers have won the NL West 10 of the last 11 years. All they did was get better this year, and I think it's going to be another cakewalk for the Dodgers in the NL West.
I mean, we were all so upset about what happened in Arizona, and it actually ended up being one of the best things ever because they were like, you know what? If this is how we're going to perform, all we're going to do is just sign a lot more people, and that's exactly what they did. So I cannot wait. They literally signed everyone they could get their hands on, and I just think it's going to be a crazy year.
I will say this, though. Even though the Diamondbacks did not win the NL West last year, they did represent the National League in the World Series. They're a very young team. They have good pitching. Corbin Carroll is one of the best up-and-coming baseball players in the entire MLB, but I feel like they still got a little room to grow to kind of win that division and win over 100 games, which we've seen the Dodgers do repeatedly over the last 11 years.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it comes down to the division, I don't even think it's really a question. The Dodgers, like you said, have won 10 in the last 11 years.
Padres got worse. Giants still kind of suck. And the Rockies are probably the worst team in the National League. So I feel like the Dodgers are going to win this division hands down. The one division, though, that was tough for me was the NL Central. I'm going with the team that finished in last place last year, and that's the St. Louis Cardinals. I expect them to have a bounce-back year. They improved their pitching staff, getting Sonny Gray, and you still got Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado in the 3-4 spot in that lineup. So I like the Cardinals to bounce back this year.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals have definitely a chance of making the wild card. In fact, I literally feel like that division's wide open. I mean, there's a bunch of teams in there. The reason I went with the Brewers, even though losing Burns was a huge blow, I actually like the signing of Rhys Hopkins.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said his name. It's
Rhys Hoskins.
I knew. I was like, right when I said Hopkins, like he's not DeAndre, but you guys know what I meant. He has the potential to really lift that top of the order, and I feel like they have a lot of other up-and-comers in that lineup as well, and I love their pitching, especially their bullpen. And I feel like, especially in the regular season, you can lean a lot on low-scoring games when you have a great bullpen and great pitching, and they still do have that. Even though losing Burns was a big blow, they still have a ton of good arms and a great bullpen, which I think is going to still carry them over in that division.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do with Craig Counsell moving on and now being the manager of the Cubs, see how they do with the new manager there. But yeah, I feel like the NL Central was kind of the most open division in the National League, so I could see any of those teams. I think the Pirates are kind of a sleeper team, and I expect the Cubs to be good again this year too. They were close to making the playoffs last year. NL East, this one was pretty easy for me. It's a two-team race between the Phillies and Braves, but I just look at the Braves firepower. I think you got to go with the Braves here to win the NL East, and I think that's who's going to be kind of the Dodgers' toughest competition when we get to October.
Yeah, I went with the Braves as well. Just that lineup is just filthy. I mean, not the lineup, the lineup. Yeah, the rotation I'm actually a little worried about. I think Charlie Morton's age is kind of becoming an issue.
We saw how Chris Sale does too.
Chris Sale obviously has some question marks there, and I feel like if those two guys don't really hold up, this team may have some issues as far as the pitching goes, but the lineup...
Strider's right up there.
Exactly. They still have Strider, and they still have a great bullpen, too. So it's kind of like the Brewers. I just feel like they're going to be able to lean on that bullpen, but the difference, their lineup is still as explosive as ever. You still have the best hitter in baseball in Ronald Acuna. The numbers he put up last year were mind-boggling.
And I feel like the two corner guys, Austin Riley and Matt Olson, those are two of the most underrated players in all of baseball. So you got those guys with Acuna, Ozzie Albies. They got a lot of good young players too. So I expect the Braves to probably win over 100 games again this season.
Me too.
We got Dodgers, Braves, different than NL Central. My three wild card teams real quick. I've got the Phillies, Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Miami Marlins. I like the Marlins' young pitching staff, even with Sandy Alcantara out for the year after getting Tommy John.
Yeah, that's huge.
I still like the young pitching staff they have, and they have some good position players. I love Jazz Chisholm. And they got a lot of other guys, too. I expect the Marlins to compete for that final wild card spot. So I got the Phillies, Diamondbacks, Marlins. Who are your 3 wild card teams?
Man, I had to go with the D-backs just after what they did last year. They really came out of nowhere, and they just have such good young talent. I don't think they're going to be going anywhere. I still think they're going to have a great record. Obviously, not going to be able to catch the Dodgers, but I think they're going to clearly lock up one of the top wild card spots. The other 2 teams I'm going with, Phillies and Cubs. The Phillies are always that team that sneaks in there and then catches fire, and I don't know why that will change this year. I still feel like, I mean, obviously they still have a great rotation. It's locking up Nola. I feel like Nola is one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball. Yeah. He always is solid, always is consistent, and then that lineup is also one of the best lineups in baseball. They have power throughout the lineup, and I just feel like they're going to be a sneaky good team. But the Cubs are my other team, and I went back and forth between the Cubs and the Marlins. I actually had to look down and see who I wrote down, but I actually love how you brought up Counsell earlier. Yeah. I feel like he is just a veteran voice that's been managing a while now, and he's great at putting guys in the right position, especially in the bullpen, and I think that's something the Cubs really need, and I just feel like he's going to do a better job managing that bullpen, managing the younger guys. They have a ton of young talent as well. Signing Cody Bellinger back after a great year, I thought was another good thing for them, so I think they are going to be another team that sneaks in. The Marlins, the only reason I'm worried about them is the losing Jorge Soler. I really think losing that power in the lineup may hurt them a little bit. Went to the Giants.
Yes, he did. I like that pickup, and Chapman too for the Giants. So we'll see how that does for them. The Giants and Padres, those were 2 teams I thought could maybe make a run. I like getting Bob Melvin for the Giants too. I think that could help them out. That's a guy who is, got from the Bay Area, did a great job with the A's, didn't do a great job with the Padres. They did get to the NLCS, but last year the Padres it was bad. So we'll see. I think Melvin's going to do a good job, though, getting the Giants back to contention. I just don't think the players really were big Gabe Kapler fans. So we'll see how that goes. Let's go to the American League, AL West. It's a tough division. You got the Astros, Rangers, Mariners, and then you go down a little bit. Then you got the Angels. Then you go down all the way to the very bottom, go even further, and that's where you find the Oakland A's.
Or the Royals.
I'm just AL West here. But Houston Astros, for me, especially adding Josh Hader, I expect them to win this division. This is a team, they've been to the ALCS every single year since 2017. So they've been right there every season. I expect the Astros to win the AL West. And I'll just run through the other 2. I got the Twins winning the AL Central. This division, just like the National League Central, really a toss-up. I could see a few teams winning this. But I just like the Twins, and I like their hitters. I like Carlos Correa. If Byron Buxton stays healthy, it's a very decent lineup. And the AL East was tough for me, but I like the moves the Yankees made, especially if they add a guy like Blake Snell to that rotation. Still hasn't signed anywhere yet. But you get Juan Soto to go with Aaron Judge. I love that move.
Do you think the Yankees are going to sign Snell? You think that's a top team for him probably?
I do. I feel like that's probably the top team left. The Giants might be in play for him too. But I expect him to sign with the Yankees before this season starts. But I got Astros, Twins, Yankees. Who you got?
I went back and forth with the Yankees and the Orioles, but I'm going to go with the Orioles. Yeah. The Corbin Burns signing is just that rotation was already great.
Last year they were the number 1 seed in the American League, and that was before they got Corbin Burns. But they still have a little bit of injuries in the bullpen. They brought in Craig Kimbrell, so we'll see how that goes.
And obviously losing the closer, Batista. That guy is one of the best closers in baseball when he's healthy. Yeah. But they have a lot of arms. They have a lot of talent. Bradish, too, I'm a little concerned about, but I feel like they'll be able to make up for him, and he will come back this year, I think. I don't think he's going to be out all year. Yeah. So I still lean the Orioles, and I love their lineup, too. And they have a bunch of young talent. You talk about the new kid they're bringing in, Jackson Holliday.
Matt Holliday's son.
Oh, man, this kid can rake. Yeah. And their lineup was great last year. So I feel like you add a piece like him that is going to be more consistent, have more bats this year. I just love everything about the Orioles. But the Yankees made a lot of moves where I think they're going to be right there, and I think it's going to be a 2-headed race between those 2. If Soto really can get his game together and get back to his Nationals form, man, that could be a scary, scary team. And if they sign Blake Snell, I probably would lean towards them. I'm just not quite sure where he's going to end up yet, especially with Garrett Cole leading the helm with that rotation.
In the Central, I feel like that one was the toughest.
The Central, literally, I went through all the teams.
You go a little eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I wanted to pick the Royals. I love Cole Reagans and the arms that they have, and obviously them bringing back Bobby Witt and that signing. But I had to go with the Tigers. I just feel like the Tigers have a bunch of young talent, and this division is up for grabs. And at the the end of the day, I really like Riley Green. I feel like he may have a breakout year this year. So they just have a lot of young pieces. At the end of the day, I'm going to take them, and I do like some of their pitching pieces as well.
AL West, I feel like this division's pretty tough with the Mariners, Astros, and Rangers. So.
I feel great about the Mariners this year.
Yeah, they have a good pitching staff.
That's what I was about to say. I love their pitching. And let's not forget.
Julio Rodriguez, too.
And Julio had a horrible start last year. I don't think that's going to happen this year.
He still finished with good numbers.
Yeah, and I think coming off that great end of the year last year, them just missing the playoffs, I think he's hungry and wants to prove himself this year. I think he's going to have maybe an even MVP year, which we'll talk about really soon here. Yeah. But I love everything about the Mariners. I think they're going to take this division by storm this year. I really do.
I do like him bringing back Mitch Haniger, too. He just never fit with the Giants, but I see him putting up he's never played well anywhere else outside of Seattle. So
and I thought Seattle may have a chance of bringing in Snell too. So, that still may be a possibility as well. You add Snell to that rotation, dear Lord.
So you got the Mariners winning the West, so you're through wildcard teams.
This was a little bit tough. In fact, I have to go with my notes. I have to remember. Okay, no. Then I obviously went with the Rangers and the Astros. The Rangers, I'm a little worried about with their pitching. I don't know what's going to happen with Montgomery. He's not coming back there. He's such a big piece for them. Obviously, DeGrom, we never know what's going to happen there. And I just feel like their pitching, I don't know if it's going to hold up. And then Seager, I love him to death, but he's still a little banged up this year, and we all know he can be injury prone at times. And
I feel like lately Seager's done pretty good staying healthy. He did miss time last year, but you saw how good he is in the postseason.
Yeah, but coming into this season, we're not really sure about his health right now. Even though I think he'll be fine for opening day, but still, there's just some lingering questions there I have compared to what I know about Seattle's pitching. I just feel more confident with Seattle's pitching, but I still think the Rangers are going to be there. They're the team to beat. They're the champions. But I'm just explaining why I didn't have them winning the division. And then obviously, I hate to say it, but I have to have the Astros there too. They have so much talent in their lineup still, and they still have a great pitching staff, except for Christian Javier. Gosh, I hate that guy. Anyway, we'll get there.
You got your little fantasy baseball championship.
I got my so I don't need to worry about that. And then the third team is going to be the Yankees. I was like, I know I'm leaving a team out, and like I said, I think it's going to be really close between them and Baltimore. So obviously, if I'm taking Baltimore, I'm going to give the Yankees that wild card spot.
Yeah, I went with the Rangers too. I mean, they're the defending World Series champs, and they bring back a lot of talent. I expect them to win a wild card spot. The Baltimore Orioles is a team I love.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be really good again this year. And then the Tampa Bay Rays, this is a team they've made the playoffs every season since 2019. So I expect them to be right in the mix again. I mean, for some reason, it doesn't matter who's on the Rays. Their pitching staff's going to always find a way to be good, and they're always going to have good hitters. And I love Randy Arozarena too. So
the way they develop pitchers is amazing. I have no idea how they do it, but they always are just developing a ton of talent. I wouldn't be surprised
if Ryan Pepio has a monster year with Tampa Bay in his first season, because he was the major piece they got for Tyler Glasnow in the Dodger trade.
Be on the lookout too for I think it's Junior Caminero. That kid has a lot of potential to be a great hitter.
World Series prediction: I got Dodgers over Yankees. I think I love it, man.
Yeah, baby.
This is a World Series I think Fox would love. You got two of the probably most famous organizations in all of baseball.
Yeah.
You got the big names, the superstars. You just look at the Dodgers: Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and then guys like Will Smith, Max Muncy. This team is absolutely loaded. Gavin Lux is coming back. And you look at the rotation. That was a problem for the Dodgers last year. They added some big-time pitchers. You got Yamamoto coming in. You got Tyler Glasnow.
Man.
You got even a guy like James Paxton can make an impact for the Dodgers this year. And I love the bullpen with Evan Phillips, and we'll see how Blake Trinan does coming back this year too. But they got so many guys in the bullpen. It would be just a huge disappointment if the Dodgers don't make it to the World Series.
Oh, it's World Series or bust.
World Series or bust. And I like the move the Yankees made this year. You got Soto with Judge. I love that lineup. Their pitching's better than people think. I think we're going to get Dodgers-Yankees, and I like the Dodgers to win that in 5.
Man, I'm going to stick with what I think usually gets people to the World Series, unless you have just an amazing lineup like the Dodgers do. I'm taking Dodgers and Dodgers. I'm taking Dodgers and Mariners. I just think Seattle's pitching.
You're going Mariners.
I'm going Mariners. I love their rotation. I think if they can hold steady and Julio Rodriguez has the MVP season we all expect him to maybe have, that team can take the league by storm. And I just think that would be a great pitching series between those two. Yeah. But obviously, I love the Dodgers lineup. If it came down to those two, give me the Dodgers in 5 against the Mariners.
That would be a fun World Series for West Coast.
But, I mean, you can't ignore the stardom you were talking about if it was Yankees-Dodgers. There would not be more starts in a World Series in a long time compared to that one.
So, we both got Dodgers weird. I mean,
I wouldn't know that
Dodger fans or anything.
I even think most non-biased Dodger fans are taking the Dodgers this year,
Just to prove how much of a Dodger fan I am, we'll run through these real quick. My MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year in the National League are all from the Dodgers. National League MVP, I just Mookie Betts. You look at the numbers he put up last year.
Oh, yeah.
He was right there in the MVP race, and I think you add Ohtani to that lineup. That means Mookie's going to have more opportunities. He's going to get better pitches to hit. He's going to score more runs. I think Mookie Betts is going to win NL MVP this year.
Yeah.
My Cy Young winner, I love this move for the Dodgers, is Tyler Glasnow. I think he's going to have a huge year. He's back home. He's from Southern California. I think if he can just stay healthy this year, I think he's going to turn into the Dodgers ace, and I think he's going to put up big-time numbers. That's who I have for NL Cy Young. In my Rookie of the Year for the National League, I feel like this is a pretty obvious choice for anybody making these predictions. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I might have butchered his first name.
You said it better than I would have. That's why I didn't pick him. I didn't want to butcher his name.
Yeah, so I got Glasnow, and Yamamoto as my 3 for MVP, Cy Young, and Roy.
All right. I'm taking Ohtani for MVP. What's funny is you mentioned all the things about Mookie Betts, how all of his numbers are going to get better. You could make the argument for all 3 of those guys. Yeah. Freeman, Betts, or Ohtani. I'm just going to take Ohtani because he had already won it last year in the AL, and now you add his bat in between Freeman and Betts or behind before, wherever. It doesn't matter. This guy is going to absolutely rake this year. And I just feel like he is going to embrace the stardom. He's not going to be someone who's going to cower in the moment. I really think this guy his whole life has been looking for the stardom, and he's just going to embrace that stardom in LA where you can't get it anymore in baseball other than maybe with the Yankees, which you brought up earlier. So give me Ohtani at MVP. Man, what's the next one?
The pitchers.
Cy Young. NL Cy Young. I'm going to have to go.
Who did I write down again?
Who did I write down? Spencer Strider.
Yeah, you tell me. I don't know. I'm not doing your little notes over there.
I was about to say,
bro, I don't even have an iPhone, so I don't have notes.
I was about to say Corbin Burns. I'm like, wait, no, that's... And Spencer Strider is an absolute stud.
He is good.
I think he led the league in strikeouts last year.
He got them running back legs, too. This dude looks like a football player out there. He's got them huge legs, can just throw about 100 miles per hour. He's nasty.
And he's the clear ace of that rotation now.
Easy.
And I just think he had a really good year last year.
He was probably the favorite to win National League Cy Young last year till about the last month and a half of the season.
Yeah, and I really think this year he's going to embrace that, and he wants to win it this year. And I give him the edge, just his strikeout ability and the way he can get things done.
Strides forward this year.
He's going to take major strides for us here. Now let me see who did I write down for NL Rookie of the Year. Who was it? Oh, that's right. Give me Mr. Jackson Churio. I want a box of Cheerios, baby. This kid is a stud. He can rake.
What kind of
He's
Cheerios
young.
you getting?
He's extra sugar because he can knock it out of the park with that sweetness. I'm telling you, this kid has all the credentials to be a great
extra
player.
Sugar Cheerios?
Pretty sure they have sugar toasted. No, I don't know if that's the thing either. But what I can tell you is he's going to toast the league this year. I want to take Yamamoto. He's the clear favorite. Did I say that right? I think I did, baby. Yamamoto. But yeah, I would take him, but I don't want to be a total homer on the show, so I went with the young kid.
That's weird. You're never like that.
Yeah.
All right,
you got to switch it up a little bit.
We'll go to the American League. I'll make this easy for me. MVP, I got Aaron Judge. I think he's going to have a monster year. Just don't run into fences like he did last year. Ruin my fantasy team. AL Cy Young, Corbin Burns. I love the addition the Orioles got. Yeah. He's in a pitcher's ballpark. And I just think the transition from one league to the other usually favors pitchers against hitters because you're seeing pitchers for the first time. That was another major reason why I went with Glasnow. Win an NL Cy Young. And then AL Rookie of the Year is Jackson Holliday. This is a guy we touched on earlier talking about the Orioles.
Love that kid.
I think he's going to have a huge rookie season for the Baltimore Orioles, and I think he's going to have a huge impact for that team. I expect him to win the AL Rookie of the Year. And I mean, his dad was a pretty good ball player, Matt Holliday, for a very, very long time. Who you got?
All right, AL MVP. I'm going to take Mr. Juan Soto. Wow. Actually... Now, I'm going to change it. I'm going to go Julio Rodriguez. Okay. And I've been back and forth between them, but I'm like, if I'm going to take the Mariners World Series, I might as well throw my money on the young kid, too. He had such a spectacular end to last year. I really think he continued with that momentum, and I just think he's going to really embrace the role of being the guy this year. I think he maybe didn't quite live up to the hype after the home runs derby last year, but I think he's been in the spotlight a little bit more, and I really think he's going to have a great year this year. And just his speed along with power is something really unique that I think he can bring to the table.
Speed, power, everything. He's got that charisma about him too. He's got that potential to be like the next face of baseball superstar.
Yeah. And I hate taking someone who won the award last year and saying it this year, but I got to go with Garrett Cole for Cy Young. just his ability to strike guys out and to live up to the moment and
he
live up
does
to the hype of New York.
He does something rare too nowadays. You don't see pitchers go longer than 6-7 innings.
Yeah.
And Garrett Cole's one of those rare guys that does that continuously.
He's got the innings under his belt. He's got the stuff, and now he's got the team to back him up and get him even more wins this year.
Yeah.
I just think everything's in the right spot for him, and I really think it's going to be a battle between them and Baltimore, but I think he's going to be leading the charge for the Yankees. Rookie of the year was tough. It was really tough, and now I got to look to my notes because I got to remember who I went with. I went with Evan Carter, and I didn't want to take him either.
Hey, that dude was clutch in the playoffs all season last year for the Rangers.
I feel like, and he's probably clearly the favorite, I think, for the AL as well too, just because all the hype he got and all the noticeability he got in the playoffs. So I think that playoff experience is going to help him to have a great year this year, and I just think he's going to put up the clear numbers to lock in that AL Rookie of the Year.
All right, that's MLB predictions. Now it's time for some more predictions. We got a big-time UFC card tomorrow night. Going down in South Florida in Miami, where the Miami Heat play basketball, UFC 299. This card might be more stacked than UFC 300.
Yeah.
Easily the best card so far of the year. Main event, we got Sugar Show. Sean O'Malley, definitely one of my top 3 fighters currently in the UFC right now. And he's taking on Marlon Chito Vera, a guy that has the only win against O'Malley, who comes in at 17-1, and it was kind of a weird foot injury that kind of favored Marlon Vera to take over that fight.
Yeah.
So it's one of those kind of losses, but it really wasn't. So
we need to answer the questions.
I'm looking forward to this one, man. O'Malley just ran through Aljo, who's having a great run as the champ there in the 135-pound division. O'Malley's won 5 in a row since that Cheeto loss, and obviously wins over Aljo, Piordion, and Paiva, Mutino, and then Thomas Almeida. So he's on a little bit of a streak here. He's on a heater. And what are you looking forward to this fight? Who you got?
I'm going to take Sugar Show all day, every day. I feel like, obviously, the one thing Cheeto's going to try and do is the leg kicks. He's going to test that leg, test that durability, but I think Sugar is waiting for that. And Sugar's speed and movement, I just think, has improved. His confidence has improved, and I think he really wants to prove a point as well. So I think with all those things mixed in, I think this is going to be a Sugar Show to remember. I think he's going to have a finish by the second round.
Yeah, I think the longer this fight goes, that's where it kind of favors Cheeto. He's got to force this into being a dogfight if he wants to beat O'Malley. But, I just think O'Malley's reaching his peak right now, and I think this dude is just going to keep getting better and better, and I think he's got huge fights coming up for him down the road. I see him potentially winning this fight, taking on Merab next, and then after that, I could see him maybe moving up to 145 and to take on Ilya Topuria and a big-time super fight. But I think O'Malley's going to win this one, too. I expect this one to be a pretty quick fight. I think O'Malley's going to actually end it in the first round. Yeah.
One thing I remember, too, is Cheeto struggled with Sandhagen. And why? Because Sandhagen's movement and his speed. And I feel like O'Malley was kind of piecing him up before, obviously, that kick happened in the first fight. So I feel like if O'Malley can really utilize his speed and movement, do the same thing Sandhagen did, he can not only beat him, but he can finish him as well.
Yeah, I mean, Cheeto's won 5 of his last 6, too. And
Sandhagen was the one loss.
Was coming to Sandhagen. It was a split decision, but it was a pretty dominant performance for Sandhagen. So, co-main event, this is a good fight, man. I'm kind of surprised the betting odds have this one favored towards, what's his name again?
Mr. Saint Denis Pre. I don't know why I threw the pre in there, but Saint Denis.
Yeah, man, this dude's been on a tear. He's 5-1 in the UFC. He lost his first fight, and then he's ran off 5 in a row since then. But that's important, man. This guy has 21 wins in the UFC. He's 29-8 overall MMA career. This guy has just been fighting since 2011 in the UFC. He's been around the block, and I think Dustin Poirier is going to show Benoit Saint Denis what it's about to be a title contender and one of the top 5 fighters in the UFC lightweight division.
All you have to do is compare the resumes. I mean, you look at the guys that Poirier has fought. He beat Conor McGregor twice. Conor McGregor. He beat Conor McGregor twice. He just fought Justin Gaethje twice, beat him and lost to him. I mean, and who's Saint Denis' best fight? Frivola? He's fought some good guys, but nowhere comparable to the lineup that Poirier has. And what's tripping me out is that Saint Denis is quite favored in this fight. Yeah. The odds makers are taking the knockouts over the experience, which usually you don't see.
You can get a lot of cheddar coming in on Poirier, though. That's good money coming your way for sure. And Poirier, like you said, man, he's lost 2 of his last 3, but it's
to the top of the top.
Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. So I like Poirier in this one, man. He's tied for the 7th most wins in UFC history too. I mean, I think Poirier is going to win this one. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think Poirier is going to escape with a unanimous decision, though.
And 5 rounds, which also should be interesting because we really haven't seen
Saint. Is it a 5-round fight?
It's a 5-round fight. And we haven't seen Saint Denis go into deep waters yet either.
Yeah.
So, the longer that, I feel like, just like you brought up Cheeto, the longer that this fight goes, the more it favors the Diamond, Mr. Poirier. And I feel like he's not going to get finished. What happened with Gaethje was pretty unique. I just don't feel like Saint Denis is going to be able to replicate that, but we'll see. You never know.
And this fight, I'm probably the most looking forward to on the entire card, and that's Kevin Holland versus Michael Page. Michael Page making his UFC debut, had a great run with Bellator, 21-2 overall record.
Yeah.
This dude's kickboxing's off the charts, has 13 career knockouts. Kevin Holland, straight dog. This guy, every fight he's in, man, just a great, great fight. And this guy's fought at least 3 times every year since he joined the UFC. And this is a big test for Michael Page, and I think Michael Page is going to actually knock out Kevin Holland because I think Kevin Holland's going to try and stand up instead of using his wrestling, which is kind of Michael Page's weakness. But I think Page is going to find a way and keep this one standing. I expect him to get a knockout.
I really have no idea who's going to win this fight because you really have no idea what kind of fighter Holland's going to show up and be. Because I feel like, just to your point, if Holland shows up and grapples and wrestles, he can grapple and wrestle with the best of them, and that is one of Page's weaknesses. But we all know that Kevin Holland would rather put on a show and have a fun time than go to the game plan and, try and win a fight that way. So with that being said, I have no idea what's going to happen in this fight, and I'm looking forward to it just for that reason, of course.
This is how stacked this card is, too.
Yeah.
The 4th fight is Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. This dude, Della Maddalena is 6-0 in the UFC. Gilbert Burns, he's 22-6, 15-6 in the UFC. Fought Usman for the title, lost, obviously got knocked out. But Burns has fought the who's who. And Jack Della Maddalena, this is a guy who's done a great job so far. His last one was against Kevin Holland. I could see this fight going either way.
Yep.
And I expect Della Maddalena to get the dub here, though.
I have no. It's funny because this reminds me a lot of the Poirier fight where you have Burns, who's the seasoned veteran who's fought the who's who, and then you have the up and comer who hasn't lost yet. The one difference though is Jack isn't putting away guys like Saint Denis is, and Burns, man, he is just a dog. And this guy, no matter the size of the opponent, he finds a way to compete with them. And with that being said, I really have no idea who's going to win this fight.
When Burns fought Chimaev, that was one of my favorite fights I ever seen. Even though he lost that fight, but that just shows you the dog that Burns has in him. But, you look at Burns, he's 3-3 over his last 6. But you look at the competition, his 3 wins against Jorge Masvidal, Wonder Boy, and also Neil Magny. And his 3 losses were against Bilal Muhammad, who's right there in title contention. And then Chimaev and Usman. So
top of the top. Yeah. So I just feel like this. I really feel if Burns does win, it's going to be he's going to be able to actually use his grappling and control Jack that way, and not really have to be a straight striking battle because that is his strength. I think is Jack loves to crack.
You just going with Jack?
Jack doesn't love the crack. I meant crack with fists. But
you just don't want to give the middle name, the last name.
I don't want to mess it up. That's a cheat. Del Matamamia. Yeah. See. But I do think this is going to be a great fight. I really do. I think it's a pick'em fight, and it could go either way.
Yeah, and to start out the pay-per-view, you got Piotr Jan and Song Yadong, man. This is a big-time fight, too. Man, I don't even know who I'm going to pick here, so I'll let you go first.
I'm going to go with Song Yadong, but Peter Yan, I don't know what happened to him, but something happened after that Aljo fight, and he got kicked and had the rematch. And after the rematch, he just hasn't been the same.
He's lost 3 in a row. The first one to Aljo. The O'Malley loss, a lot of people think that Piotr Jan actually won that fight. And then against Merab, man. Merab's just durability and his just resiliency was really the difference in that fight. I think Merab shot for like 45 takedowns in that fight. So.
And I will say 2 of those 3 fights are obviously against pure grapplers, right? In the same camp, if anything. So that may be a little bit more of indicators in those fights compared to this fight, where I don't think he's have to really, really worry about grappling. It's going to probably be more of a straight striking war. And with that being said, I think he has a chance. I just like Song Yadong's power, and I just love his ability to find dirty boxing and quick shots. And I just think he's going to have an edge in that category.
With Song training with Uriah Faber and Team Alpha Male, they're usually great at takedown defense. And I feel like if Yadong can just stuff Jan's takedowns, I think that's going to be the difference in the fight. I'm kind of leaning Song Yadong too in this one.
And obviously I'm an Alpha Male guy too. So
all right, so the prelims are stacked too. Give me one prelim you're most looking forward to.
Blades and Alameda.
Yeah.
That fight to me is mind-boggling just because of the grappling ability of both these guys.
Yeah.
And both can strike, but obviously Alameda's power is striking. In fact, his power anywhere is just, he is just he's Hercules. He's just a god of man.
And
like, he is a monster.
Almeida too. He's a little undersized for a heavyweight, so it'll be interesting to see how his wrestling is against a guy like Curtis Blades, who's probably got the best wrestling pedigree in the UFC heavyweight division.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, it might end up being a stand-up fight, and we've seen Blades do pretty well with his stand-up at times. So yeah, this is an intriguing matchup. Are you going Almeida though?
I'm going to go Almeida, but I do think it's going to go decision. I think it's going to be a super close fight. I don't know if he'll be able to catch Blades. I don't think Blades is going to be dumb enough to get caught like when he fought Black Beast, but you never know. We'll see. And Almeida has the power to do that as well. So it's going to be super intriguing.
Other fights on this prelims, you got Caitlin Chukagian against Macy Barber. That's a big fight in the women's division. Gamrot Dos Anjos.
Yeah, baby. These could be not only
Pedro
on main.
Munoz, Kyler Phillips. That's an intriguing match.
Like, these could be main events. Like, these could be the main event of a actual fight card, but they're on the prelim.
You know,
that's how stacked this card is.
I'm most looking forward to? It's not really a fight, but more a fighter. And Robles Despain. I knew I was going to butcher that too.
You should have gone with it. You had me.
Despain. No, this is a guy making his UFC debut. He's 4-0. Career MMA record. He's obviously taken a huge up in competition. He's taken on Josh Parisian, who hasn't had a great UFC run. He's gone 2-4, but he's fought pretty good competition. But Despain, man, you just turn on the tape of this dude. His last 3 fights have been a combined 19 seconds, 3-second knockout, 4-second knockout, and a 12-second knockout. He's a little older though. He's 35? Yeah, 35 years old. He won a bronze medal back in 2012 London Olympics for Cuba in Taekwondo. So this is a guy who's been having this experience of mixed martial arts, and I expect him to make a name for himself. UFC 299.
I don't know how you're gonna be able to search his name, but if you can,
I will say this: his fights.
Look those fights up; they're amazing.
Hey,
I had never heard of him. You showed me that reel. It only takes you 20 seconds to watch all 3 fights. Boom, boom, boom. There's your 3 fights. Insane.
Everybody's gonna know how to say homie's name after this one on Saturday.
Just like Giannis.
Yeah. How do you say his last name?
Antetokounmpo.
That was actually pretty good. All right, so we're going to run through these ones pretty quick. We're going to do 2 top 10 lists. We're going to start with our top 10 current UFC fighters pound for pound.
Oh, man.
I'll go ahead and start, and I'll run through all my 10, and you can do your 10. At number 10, I have Israel Adesanya. And
is he making the cut?
I put him on here. I knew it was kind of tough, but
yeah.
I just look at the track record and all he's done in the UFC middleweight division. He's lost 2 of his last 3. He lost to Ferreira, and then he lost to Sean Strickland. I think that Sean Strickland fight was kind of one you're going to forget about. I don't think his head was in the right headspace, so I think that was kind of the difference there. But I just look at what he's done his UFC career. He's 13-3 in the UFC, and he's beat the who's who in that UFC middleweight division. At number 9, I got Charles Oliveira. This is a guy who's gone 22-9 in the UFC. He's tied for the 4th most wins in UFC history. He's gone 12-1 over his last 13 fights. The only loss came against Islam Makhachev, who checks in at number 2 on my list. So you just look at the guys he's beat: Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson, Kevin Lee, and Jim Miller, Clay Guida, Jeremy Stevens.
He's finished most of those guys, too.
Exactly. So Charles Oliveira at 9. Number 8, I got Alex Pereira. He's 6-1 in the UFC. That only loss was against Israel Adesanya, where he got a little too aggressive and got knocked out. But this is a guy who's won 2 division champ. A UFC light heavyweight champ, and he was also the middleweight champ. He beat Jan Blachowicz, and then that jury fight, he kind of dominated as it got into the 2nd round and won the 205-pound belt. So, obviously the UFC is big on this guy too, because he's headlining UFC 300 against the former champ Jamal Hill. That's a fight I'm looking forward to seeing.
I can't wait to see that fight. In fact, I think Hill could be one of the guys on this list until that injury. He was
right on the cusp of me on right here. I had him at 14.
In fact, the winner of that may get the spot on the list. We'll see.
Number 7, I had Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley, 17-1 MMA record, 9-1 in the UFC, and that 1L was a loss because he got nerve damage in his leg and couldn't even move his leg. So we'll see how it goes this weekend. Headline in UFC 299. I expect him to put on a big-time performance. He's gone 5-0. with 1 no contest since that loss to Marlon Vera too. So, but he's got big wins over Aljo, Piotr Jan, And I think this is the guy who's just going to start stacking up wins and kind of becoming a face of the UFC.
Yeah.
Number 6, I got Volkanovski. He's been on a little bit of a tough stretch here lately, but this guy is probably the best 145-pounder of all time. I think he's had a better career than Max Holloway and Jose Aldo did in that division. I got Volk at number 6. This is a guy who's 13-3 in the UFC, and he just dominated the featherweight division before that loss to Topuria. Number 5, I got Tom Aspinall. Who's
Tommy boy,
interim UFC heavyweight champ. I can't wait till they end up making that fight with John Jones. If it does happen, that's a fight I can't wait to see. But he's 7-1 in the UFC, all 7 by stoppage, 6 in the first round. Only loss was because of a knee injury against Curtis Blades. So this is a guy who's really kind of undefeated in the UFC. Leon Edwards at number 4. He's gone 12-0-1 with that one being a no contest. The only loss came against Kamaru Usman, and he's won all of those in a row since that loss. So he's had
including
a
against
run.
Usman.
Yeah, he's 14-2
Twice.
with that one no contest in the UFC. Has wins over Colby Covington, 2 against Usman, Nate Diaz, Rafael Dos Anjos, Gunnar Nelson, Donald Cerrone, Vicente Luque. Number 3, Ilia Topuria. This is a guy I put up pretty high just because of that performance against Volkanovski.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most impressive performances I've seen over the last few years in the UFC. Knocked him out cold. That was Volk's first loss ever at 145 pounds
during
his entire career, and knocked him out cold in the second round. This is a guy I just think's going to get better and better. He's well-rounded, good wrestling, good on takedowns, and has knockout power. So number 2, Islam Makhachev. This is a guy who could have very well been at 1. He's 14-1 in his UFC career, has won 13 in a row, and has just dominated everyone. Beat Volk twice. Dominant win over Charles Oliveira, Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, Drew Dober, Armin Sarukian. The list goes on and on. Number 1 for me, John Jones. He's the best current fighter, and he's the best fighter of all time in UFC history. He's 27-1 and has won no contest. That one was a DQ loss, which he was just dominating Matt Hamill. He has 15 title defenses. So, this is the craziest stat for me for John Jones. His last non-title fight, February 5th, 2011. Every fight he's been in has been a title fight.
His last non-title fight's longer than most guys' careers in the UFC.
So John Jones is pretty easy for me at number 1.
I'm not going to take too long on 1 and 2 because we're exact same. I have Jones 1. Obviously, Jones has been my guy forever. I've loved watching this guy fight. He's never lost a fight. I don't even count the Matt Hamill fight. I don't think anyone does. I don't think Matt Hamill will ever say he beat him. So
he
Jones
actually does.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So Jones number 1, and then you have to go Makhachev too.
Yeah.
It's clear as day. You reeled off the people he's beat, and it's funny because not too long ago, what was the pound for pound 1 versus 2 fight? It was him versus Volk, and he's won both of them and finished Volk. Ended that conversation right there. So Makhachev, I don't see anyone beating that guy in a long time. I really don't. I think him and Jones obviously isn't going to go much longer because I don't even know if he's going to fight again, or maybe his last fight's coming soon. So Makhachev will be one soon enough.
Jones has 2 max.
Yeah.
One against Stipe, and then hopefully against Aspinall.
Yeah,
I think
and we'll see how all that works out.
Yeah.
You just never know. Number 3, I'm going to go Leon Edwards. I just feel like what he's been able to do, and now him defending the belt like he has, and beating a champ like Usman. Usman would have been one of the top 10 guys 2 or 3 years ago, if not 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He was right there.
Not even on our list now.
Yeah, and in fact, there's a lot of guys not too long ago. Izzy too isn't on my list and would have been one of the top ones, which shows you if guys are beating them, they deserve to be the new guy we're discussing now as their reign, starts to blossom. And I feel like this guy's reign is starting to blossom as well. And even though the Colby fight kind of sucked, that wasn't his fault. He did everything he had to.
He won that easily.
And he's another guy I don't think is going to maybe lose for a bit. He is so well-rounded, and he is such a deadly striker.
A fight I can't wait to see is him versus Shavkat.
Yeah.
Happens.
That's the one guy, obviously, I feel. But I think Edwards is going to be able to handle him. I just feel like his striking and his movement is going to be too much for him. But we'll see. Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked the way things go in UFC. Number 4, you brought up this guy earlier, Ilia Topuria. And here's my reason he's number 4 for me. When you knock out the guy who's supposedly one of the pound for pound the best and the elite of the elite in your division. This guy has beat Max Holloway 3 times, and he got knocked out cold by Topuria. In fact, I would love to see Max Holloway fight Topuria next. I think that is an intriguing fight.
Well, I feel like if he beats Gaethje, he's probably next in line.
Yeah, I'm hoping he does. And even though I love Gaethje, I want him to win just so I can see that fight. Because I agree with you. I don't know if that fight happens if he loses that fight. But right now, you cannot argue against Topuria. This dude on Instagram called himself the champ the night before and embraced the moment. And he just is he's the definition of confident. I've never seen a fighter look more confident. In fact, it reminds me a lot of McGregor and his rise to the top. He just knew he was going to be champ and no one was going to take that away from him. And then for him to knock out the pound for pound, one of the best, just like McGregor did to Aldo, I think was a shock to a lot of people, and he's really made a name for himself now.
And that's why it's funny that he wins and then calls out McGregor. Everyone wants McGregor. I don't know if McGregor's ever fighting again, but
I don't think he is. I just think that ship sailed. And if McGregor does fight again, I would hope it'd be against Chandler before Topuria.
Yeah,
but
it would.
Yeah, we'll see. Number 5, this is where I put Volkanovski. I still think Volk is one of the best pound for pound. What he's done, you can't take away from him, but you obviously can't put him ahead of Topuria and all those other guys that he's lost to as well. Islam on that list too. I hope he's not fighting John Jones anytime soon. So I'm going to put him 5. I still think he's one of the best pound for pound fighters, and I'm not quite there to move him down more. But he may start dropping down this list if he doesn't take a fight for a while and some of these other guys win some more big fights. But for now, I'm not taking my guy off. I love Volk and everything he does.
Volk needs to take a little break. He's got knocked out bad twice
in
a row. So.
I do too, and that's my point. I think him taking a break, if it really does go a long time, he may get his name knocked off this spot too. Because this list is ever changing, which is the beautiful thing about it. Number 6, give me O'Malley. Everything you mentioned, his rise to the top, and now for him, really, he made this list when he was able to beat Sterling. Because Sterling was on this list too, probably, to be honest. I mean, what he had been doing in the division was incredible. And for O'Malley to knock him out the way he did, along with all the other guys he's fought other than Cheeto, I think he deserves to be on this list now from that. Another guy who's lived up to the hype and embraced the moment.
Like, the only thing that was really impressive to me from O'Malley was the knockout, obviously, but just the takedown defense against Aljo.
Yeah.
He's done a great job of getting guys on the ground. O'Malley did a great job, kind of frustrated him, forced a sloppy takedown attempt, and boom, 1-2. Good night.
And let's not forget, that could mean a potential of O'Malley versus Dvalishny down the road.
Rob,
and talk about a revenge fight, having your boy go in there, and then we're able to see what O'Malley can do with a takedown D. That would be intriguing to me as well, but let's let things play out before we get there. Number 7, I have to put Duplessis on this list.
That was the guy I felt like I could have had on. But
and you know what? The guys you mentioned, Aspinall's the guy that didn't make it for me. That's right there, too. This list can really go any way you want. But I just feel like what Duplessis done, one, undefeated, hasn't lost yet, able to beat Strickland, which to me, I don't know about dominant, because that was as close as fight gets. As a fight gets. Not as fight gets, but as a fight gets, because it was literally a 3-2 decision by split hairs. So, but I still thought he won that fight as well. And since I thought he won that fight, I thought Strickland was one of the top 10 fighters. So I pretty much gave Duplessis' spot to him because he's undefeated and beat the current champ. So I would love to see those guys run that back. But for now, I'm going to put Duplessis 7. Number 8 is where I have Pereira. And the only reason I have Duplessis over Pereira is because Duplessis is undefeated. But I honestly, what Pereira's done, his rise to stardom, how he was a 2-time champ, I think if he wins this next fight, he's going to jump that list for sure, because for him to defend the title like that against a crazy fighter that he is coming up, I think because that really was the champ that he's going against Hill now. So if he can solidify that.
Jamal vacated his belt once he
we all know. And I mean, that whole thing was crazy. So I think you got to put Pereira there. Number 8. Number 9. I have this another guy you didn't mention. I'm surprised. Alexandra Pantoja. I mean. And I do agree that he didn't really dominate, against Gilbert. But then again, it was a pretty interesting, good fight.
Well, I just look with that division. I feel like that division's the weakest in the UFC.
Yeah, that's true.
Brandon Moreno and then Brandon Royval. I just don't think that division's good enough. That's why I left him out.
Yeah, and that's a great argument. Honestly, he was one of the guys I could see myself leaving out, but just the fact that he's the champ right now, and for him to be able to beat Gilbert like he did, I felt, I'm going to throw this guy in the top 10. And then my last one to make it was Sean Strickland.
Beat Brandon Moreno.
What was I saying? Gilbert? Oh, my gosh. Sorry. I was like, wait, what are you saying?
I was like, wait, who's Gilbert?
Number 10, give me Strickland. I still thought
that
that Duplessis fight was super close. Strickland, after he beat Izzy was one of my top fighters on there.
Might have won that fight against Duplessis too. So.
Yeah, and I thought he may have won that fight too. And that being said, I don't feel like he should have been taken off the top 10. But it was really close between him and Tom Aspinall.
Do you see who Strickland's most likely fight next?
No.
It looks like he's going to get Whitaker.
Wow. Okay, that's an interesting fight. I'd love to see that fight.
Yeah, a couple of guys too that just missed my list. Obviously, Gaethje, Shavkat, Chimaev, Jamal Hill, Duplessis, Marab, and then I also had Usman on there. Those are guys that kind of were right there. So.
Yeah, those are pretty much the same guys I had as well too.
All right, keeping strong with the top 10 list. And this really got me going because we were in our Facebook chat. We were doing this and we were all like mentioning. I can't remember who got brought up, but I think it was Dak got brought up how he shouldn't be in the top 10 list for quarterbacks. So then that got us thinking like, hey, let's come up with our own top 10 list, put them in order. So we'll do this one. We'll start from 10. I got Dak Prescott at 10. And this was a guy that was, I mean, I felt like I could have had him higher, but doing this list in order, it was tough. So
it was really tough. Yeah. I didn't realize how tough it would be until we brought it up.
I got Dak at 10. He's just coming off his best season ever. He threw for a career-high 4,500 yards and 36 TDs, only 9 INTs. But the thing with Dak, why he's not higher, is his playoff record. He's 2-5 postseason. So that's why he's at 10 for me. Jalen Hurts at 9. You know, he's done a tremendous job.
Okay.
I know. I don't know. I feel like he's still got to prove it for me as a passer. He's a great runner.
Yeah.
And I feel like you just look at the Eagles teams that he's had. Great defense, great offensive line. We'll see how he does with Kelsey retiring, how that offense does. But, you know, Jalen Hurts, the reason why he stayed on my list for me is just the performance he had in the Super Bowl. I feel like he was the best player in the Super Bowl, even though they lost to the Chiefs a couple years ago. Yeah. I thought he actually outplayed Mahomes in that game. Number 8 is a rookie, C.J. Stroud.
Oh, God, I love Stroud.
I wanted to put him higher, but it's just tough for me. He's only had 1 year.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's got to do this a couple, 2-3 seasons in a row to move up the list. But he's at number 8. You know, this guy probably just had the best rookie season ever. He threw for
you could argue it. I'm not going to sit here.
4,108 yards, had 23 touchdowns, completed 64% of his passes, third most passing yards as a rookie in NFL history. Only Andrew Luck and Justin Herbert had more. 7, Matthew Stafford. I mean, you just look at arm talent. I don't know if anyone throws a ball better than Matthew Stafford. The only guy that might is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But you look at Stafford, man, this is a guy. I just look at that Rams team last year. It wasn't the most talented, but I feel like they were in that position because of the way Stafford played. He stayed healthy. He's one of 5 active quarterbacks right now that have a Super Bowl ring. Only 5 active quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl in the NFL now.
Wow. And well, Patrick Mahomes keeps winning them all. Exactly. It's not going to change.
And then Brady had all those, was just kind of standing in the way of all those other guys.
It's funny.
Yeah, 6, Lamar Jackson. He's got 2 MVPs, but the same thing as having Dak at 10. Just playoff performances for me with Lamar Jackson is why I didn't have him higher. 2-4 playoff record. The guy's been great in the regular season. He's already number 4 on the all-time list for most rushing yards by any quarterback. Who are the 3 ahead of him?
Come on.
Well, obviously Vic.
That was the only one I could think of. I said, come on, so unlikely.
Who just got jumped by a bunch of little men like a week ago?
What?
Everyone thought it was kids that fought him, but it wasn't kids. It was actually grown men that are just tiny. Cam Newton.
Wait, okay, I missed the story. That? You got jumped by midgets? What are you talking about?
Yeah, go look at the video. Well, I'll put it up here. So, yeah, Cam Newton got jumped by a bunch of little dudes. Well, he didn't really get jumped. They were trying to punch him, and he just grabbed him and threw him over, and it was nothing.
Why? Did he make fun of their height?
Yeah, it was a whole 7-on-7 football.
I missed his story.
Yeah, bro, this was legit like a week or 2 ago.
Oh, my gosh.
And Russell Wilson's 3rd.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. The only guy, Mega Vic, by far the only guy I can think
Lamar's
of.
at 6 for me. He's one of 11 players with multiple MVPs. So, number 5, man, this was tough, but this is just based off his kind of career he's had, and I think he's going to have a really good year next year when he comes back. Might be his retirement year. Aaron Rodgers. I've got Aaron Rodgers at 5.
I'm glad you got him on there because
He's second among active quarterbacks in playoff wins with 12. He's 12-10 in the playoffs. Has that 1 Super Bowl ring, but he's also one of 2 players with at least 4 MVPs. Who's the only player with more?
Brady?
All time. Regular season MVPs. Who is Brady's rival? Big forehead.
Oh, Manning.
Yes,
Peyton
Manning. Number 4, Justin Herbert. I might have him too high on the list, but
4?
I just look at pure talent. I think Herbert is right up there. He can run. He's got great arm. And the reason I put him at 4 is because I think with Jim Harbaugh coming there, I think Jim Harbaugh is going to do a tremendous job with this kid, and I expect Justin Herbert to win MVP next year.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I really do. Number 3, Josh Allen. I mean, you just mix rushing and passing. I don't know if there's a better quarterback in the NFL than Josh Allen. He's 5-5 in the playoffs. That's why I kept him at 3. But, this is a guy who's led the Bills to 5 straight playoff appearances, 1 AFC championship appearance, but hasn't got to the Super Bowl yet. But I just love Josh Allen's talent and ability. Number 2, Joe Burrow. I just look at Joe Burrow's resume and what he's done in the playoffs and how fast he got the Bengals back to being relevant in the NFL. Joe Burrow, when it comes to just confidence, charisma, I love it, man. This is the only active quarterback in the NFL that has a playoff win over Patrick Mahomes. So
yeah,
and he's done a tremendous job. He's 5-2 in the playoffs. The 2 losses, one to Stafford in the Super Bowl, the other a heartbreaking AFC Championship game in Kansas City. So Joe Burrow's 2 for me. Number 1, it's pretty obvious. Baker Mayfield. Patrick Mahomes, man. I mean, you just look at what he's done. He's already has the 3rd most wins in playoff history. Tom Brady has 35. Joe Montana has 16. Joe Montana. And Mahomes has 15. He's 15-3 in the playoffs, which is absurd. This is a dude, since he's became the starter, the Chiefs have been in the AFC Championship game all 6 seasons. He's already got 3 Super Bowls. He's the 5th starting quarterback that has already won at least 3 Super Bowls. Brady won 7, Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana won 4, and Troy Aikman won 3. And Mahomes isn't even 30 yet, so it's pretty easy for me. He's number 1.
Yeah,
I think you could put him probably top 3 already all time.
Oh, easy. I already think he's in the conversation with Brady as the next GOAT or going to be the GOAT. I mean, clearly there's not anyone else who's going to be compared to those 2.
Before you give your 10, this stat kind of jumped off for me. Mahomes has thrown for more yards than anybody since 2018. Who has the 2nd most? Mahomes, 28,140 yards passing since 2018.
Since 2018.
Who's 2nd? This is just getting you ready for trivia because we got March Madness trivia coming up. Right
Obviously, it's not Aaron Rodgers.
No. Give me 2 more guesses.
Josh Allen.
Nope.
Joe Burrow.
Who used to be the quarterback of your team?
Oh, Stafford.
Who used to be the quarterback?
Goff?
Yes.
No
Jared
way.
Goff. Yeah, 25,536 yards passing, 2nd most since 2018.
Wow.
Give me a list. Who do you got?
Obviously, I think the easiest choice on this whole list is 1.
Yeah.
In fact, the list 2 through 9 have nightmares about 1 every year. And especially number 2 I have is Josh Allen, but I'm not going to take too much time. If you want to know what I think about Patrick Mahomes, watch the Beast episode last week. You'll get a kind of idea where I think of him. He's clearly number 1 and going to be one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback of all time. Number 2, I'm going to go with Josh Allen. My big difference with you, I think, is one I do want to clarify. This list was so hard to do that I had to really go by the standard of the word current. So it's not, in the past. It's currently going into next year with my top 10. Yeah. And with that being said, I think one big difference in the NFL now is guys' ability to rush the ball. The rushing dual quarterbacks are really the scariest. And I think Josh Allen, that's why he's number 2. Because he is such a good dual threat quarterback, but he also has the arm skills that make him a great pocket quarterback as well. And that's why after Mahomes isn't quite the scrambler, but he's such a better thrower and winner. You got to put him 1.
Mahomes he's underrated scrambler too. We saw it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We saw it in the playoffs.
In fact, I think one of his best abilities actually is his scrambling ability when nothing's there and he doesn't want to force the ball. And that's why his turnovers and interceptions went down. Yeah. He even did a better job of not forcing the throws, scrambling, and getting positive yards.
That's why it was hard for me to put Allen at 2 is because he does turn it over a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. But just if you look at the impact he has on games and his ability to win games, I just feel like the quarterback position has to do that than anyone else. And other than Mahomes, he does that the most efficient. Yeah. But I agree with you. I think that happens because he's a little bit more aggressive too. But really, his dual threat is why I love him and why I have Lamar Jackson right under him. Yeah. And when we're talking about current, I know Jackson struggled in the playoffs, but we're going into current next year in the regular season.
Reigning MVP.
He's a reigning MVP, and I think he may get it again. I don't see why he wouldn't, especially if they bring in, running back like Saquon Barkley or something crazy like that, which they may do. We'll see.
And they'll have J.K. Dobbins coming back.
Yeah. But I love everything he does, and I'm thinking more of the regular season rankings instead of the playoffs next year. So that's why I have Jackson 3. But my big thing with him is obviously his struggles in the playoffs. But really, it's only against Patrick Mahomes, which is Josh Allen's struggle as well. So I'm not going to hold too much there. I put Hurts 4. And the reason I put Hurts 4 is it goes back to his dual threat ability. I agree with you. He did take a little bit of a step back last year, but I still think his dual threat ability, his potential talent, and I still think that team's going to be great next year. All those weapons are still going to be there. It's their defense that had more of issues than him. So I still think he's a great quarterback, and I would take him as top 5 if I had to. So give me him 4. Number 5, this is where I put Burrow.
Yeah.
I would have Burrow higher. The big thing with me now is Burrow's been getting banged up a little bit. And some of these injuries are concerning because it's not the same injury. It's different injuries that are starting to take him back now. So with, him having the calf issue, and then I think it was elbow later on that took him out, or arm. I can't remember what it was.
His thumb.
Maybe it was his thumb. But either way, just
wrist.
the injuries with him scares me a little bit. And the one thing he doesn't have that the quarterbacks above him have is the rushing ability.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I think he lacks a little bit. But if you talk about pure talent, a winner, confidence, he has all those things. And I still think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I have Stafford right below him. I'm so with you on Stafford's ability to make all the throws. I think he's still the best sidearm thrower. Him and Mahomes, the only two I even see do that.
Some of the throws Stafford made in that playoff
the
game.
No-look throws this guy makes are unbelievable, and he just always makes players around him better. And I think it's more of, Puka had the breakout year because he had a guy like Stafford who's going to sit in the pocket and make those throws to him and give him opportunities. Stafford is just a gunslinger, man, and he's just tough.
He's tough.
He reminds me of Brett Favre a lot. He's just a tough, go get a win and have fun while you're doing it. And I love seeing him play. And obviously I'm a Homer Rams fan too, so that may be a little bit. But if you look at his overall talent and his consistency throughout all of his years, he's got to be one of your top 10 quarterbacks, especially him getting a Super Bowl, like you mentioned, being one of the 5, which I didn't know. That was cool to learn too. That was 6. Number 7, this is where I put in CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Stroud, I totally agree with you. He's got to show more, but man, this guy came and beat all the negativity. No one believed in Stroud. Everyone thought the Texans was going to be the laughingstock of the NFL. Everyone thought Stroud was a horrible pick. I heard so many people talk smack on this guy and saying that he's going to be a bust. And what does he do? He takes a no-name team that wasn't supposed to do anything on a playoff run and actually gives, a little bit of worry to Baltimore, at least in the first half. And they won a playoff game in Indy as well. So this kid has everything going for him, and just the throws he makes are unbelievable. Scrambling isn't there too much.
He's so confident.
He's so confident too. I think he reminds me a lot of Burrow in the sense where you see the confidence and you see the throwing ability, and he's just a winner. And I love everything about him. So I do believe in the hype of Stroud. Number 8, I put Herbert down a little bit just because of the off year last year, but he still has all the potential in the world. I'm a little bit worried about the Chargers O-line. I still don't know if they're going to be able to clean that up, but if anyone can, it's Harbaugh.
Yeah.
So we'll see with them. It's more about question marks around him and his team than him himself. Also, them losing Eckler, I think, is a big thing for him, too.
I think that's going to be the team that gets Saquon, though.
Yeah, and man, if they get Saquon, I think he can make up for Eckler pretty nicely. Saquon is such a beast.
And too, with Herbert also, like the other thing was, he has played 4 years. 3 years he's had a different offensive coordinator. So there's just really not been the stability and the familiarity with an offensive coordinator and a coaching staff.
Yeah,
so we'll see how it goes too. But
number 9, I went with Aaron Rodgers. I almost didn't put him on the list just because obviously we don't know what he's going to look like after the Achilles. But man, he is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play this game. He was the top quarterback for a long time before Mahomes went on his run. I think he would be at that number 1 spot before Mahomes went on his long run, even though he had only won one Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers was clear-cut the best quarterback for a long time. Him and Brady, obviously, but
100%.
Rodgers has so much talent, I can't keep him off my list yet, even if he's somewhat healthy and he can make the throws he did. And God, he looked so good in preseason on Hard Knocks too. I felt so bad for him. Just seeing that potential in Hard Knocks, I can't put him off my top 10 list, but it was close. I wanted to put guys like Dak on there, but I couldn't quite do it. And number 10, I got to give Christine, you're like this Brock Purdy a little shout out. Like, this dude had such a great year. He literally went from Mr. Irrelevant to relevant. Took his team on a Super Bowl run. And the one thing with the Niners has always been bad quarterback play. That did not happen in this Super Bowl. In fact, he made all the throws he had to. It wasn't his fault. They lost.
Yeah.
He did everything he had to, and I think he lived up to all the negativity of people saying he's a game manager, not quite this, not quite that. You know what he is? He's a winner. And a winner should be on the top 10 list. The Niners are one of the best teams in the league. I'm not going to take this guy off the list. And it was between him, Dak, and Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is right there, too. He looked so great in the playoffs last year. But I just think the weapons around Purdy are a little bit better, and that's going to show next year going into 2024.
Yeah, I went all the way up to 15, and I had Trevor Lawrence at 11, And
Yeah.
then I had Brock Purdy at 12. I had Tua Tagovailoa at 13. And then Jared Goff and Jordan Love at 14 and 15.
Yeah, Goff is right there for me too, and
Kirk
Tua was
Cousins
another
right
guy.
there, too,
Kirk
but-
Cousins, obviously him coming off injury, and
Yeah.
we're not really sure where he's going to
He's
be
gone,
yet.
yeah.
So that kind of knocks him down a little bit too.
Next year, I'll have Caleb Williams number 1 on my list.
Oh, you
So-
know I will too, baby.
All right, you ready for some trivia before we go? to
Oh,
Piece of Pieces?
God.
Come on, man.
I'm not.
So, we got March Madness coming up. It's right around the corner, so we couldn't really break down March Madness because obviously you're gonna have the conference championships going
Yeah.
on this next week, and then March Madness the following
Next
week.
show, we'll be getting
So
on
we're gonna hit y'all with some trivia. You ready?
Oh yeah.
Cue the Jeopardy music, baby. Suck down that water.
Suck down that water. It's
Number one.
splashing.
Which college has won the most NCAA championships? A, UCLA, B, Duke, C, Kentucky, or D, North Carolina?
It's got to be UCLA.
Ding, ding, ding. He is correct.
Yeah!
Starting off on a heater, 1-0. How many championships have they won? Throw a number out.
Wait, there's no multiple choice?
No, this is just a tack on.
Oh, okay, can I get one hint? Is it double digits?
It's double digits, barely.
11?
2 for 2.
Yeah! Obviously, the barely helped me. Okay, what's after 10? 11?
Kentucky number 2 with 8. So
I can't add, though. Good math.
Number
Take
2.
that.
We won't make you do math here, right?
Okay.
What is the highest seed to ever win an NCAA title? A7, B8, C9, or D11? 7, 8, 9, 11.
Wait, okay, the highest seed. I got
so
mixed
the
up,
highest
not
ever.
lowest.
Yeah, obviously it'd be 1, dude.
That's why I was confused. When you said high, I was thinking the highest
I would
number
think
is
a
1.
1 seed of all
Okay,
time
okay.
is maybe won 1 NCAA
Can you please
championship.
repeat the question?
What's the highest seed or lowest seed?
Yeah.
Whatever way you want to look at it.
Okay.
7, 8, 9, 11. Clock's ticking, bud. I don't know what that sound was, but 7, 8, 9, 11. A7.
7! Gosh!
It was
9?
8. You wanted? Oh, you weren't gonna go with
I
8,
was
obviously.
7 or 9. Dang it!
Villanova.
Wait, who was the team?
Villanova. I was trying
Oh,
to say it. And
I
you
thought
interrupted
I
me.
thought you were going to the next question.
Rolly Massimino in 1985 led Villanova to a championship.
How are you asking me questions where I was born?
Oh, the year prior. Number 8.
Oh, yeah,
They
okay.
beat the number 1 seed Georgetown. Who was Georgetown's best player?
Oh, it had to be Patrick Ewing.
Yes, it
okay. He's the only player I know at Georgetown.
No yelling answers in the control
Hey,
room. there, old man.
I couldn't hear. That trust, I knew that one. That's the only guy I know went to
Number
Georgetown.
3, pipe down. Which player has scored the most points in one single game, or actually one single tournament? So the whole tournament in 1 year. A, Carmelo Anthony, B, Steph Curry, C, Glenn Rice, or D, Jerry West?
How was Kareem not on there?
Because he's not on here. He wasn't one of the
Wait,
4
okay.
I put
I was
down here.
you're looking for his name, so let me hear the 4
Which
again.
player has scored the most points in one single tournament? Melo, Steph, Glenn Rice, or Jerry West?
Wait, you mean the tournament, like from the first game
One
to
season.
the last?
One season. So 6
So
games,
not in
6
the-
games max.
So in the March Madness tournament,
Yeah.
not like their season.
No, just one.
So it had to be a
tournament.
guy who went to the finals.
Probably. Maybe.
Wait, let me hear the 4 again.
Melo, Steph, Glenn Rice, Jerry West.
I'm gonna go Mello. Dang it, is it Jerry West?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
No, you're down to 2.
Well, it's not Curry.
There you go. So it's Glenn Rice. You
It's
got
Glenn
it right.
Rice. Where
finally.
did he even go to school?
Michigan.
I had no clue. Did not know
won
that.
the Natty in 1989. He scored 108.
Okay, how are you gonna bring up all the teams when I'm like 3? No wonder I don't know any of this.
Come on. 184 points in the 1989 tournament.
Wow, that's crazy.
Number 4, which coach has the most wins in NCAA tournament history? A, John Wooden, B, Mike Krzyzewski, C, Bobby Knight, or D, Roy Williams? Wooden, Coach K, Bobby, or Roy?
Oh my God.
Most wins NCAA tournament history.
I'm
which
gonna
coach?
go Wooden.
Coach K.
Okay.
Because back then when Wooden was coaching, they didn't have, the field wasn't as long, so they didn't have as many wins. Coach K has got 101 wins. Number 2 is Roy Williams with 77.
Gosh.
You started out hot, and then you've gone on a little 3-game losing streak. So let's see if question 5 gets you back.
How
in
many
the mix.
questions are there?
100.
Oh my God.
Who has the longest active streak making the NCAA tournament? Longest active streak. A, Gonzaga, B, Michigan State, C, Duke, D, Kansas. Gonzaga, Sparty, Duke, Kansas. Who has the longest active streak of making the NCAA tournament?
I'm gonna go. Gonzaga.
Netherlands. Your team, bro. Michigan
Ah,
State.
that was the other team I was gonna say.
They've made it 25 consecutive years. Gonzaga was so close, 24
Oh my
consecutive
god,
years. So
these are such hard questions.
missed it by a smidgen, buddy. The next
Missed it by
closest.
that
The
much.
craziest thing is the next closest is Purdue with 8. So there was a big drop off from.
I
2
knew
to
it was
3.
Michigan State or Gonzaga. I knew it was
Yeah.
one of those two
Well,
freaking
you-
teams.
Yeah, well, sorry, you got it wrong. Which player, you're 1-4, which player has the most points all time in NCAA tournament history? So this is throughout your whole college career, NCAA tournament points. A, Danny Manning, B, Elvin Hayes, C, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or D, Christian Laettner?
Kareem. Oh my god.
The white boy.
It's Leitner, huh? He was my other guess.
Christian Laettner, the only one with over 400. He had 407 points. Elvin Hayes was the next closest with 358. Only 9 players have eclipsed 300-point mark. So that's
These are kind of easy. I'm 1-6. I don't want to do the math on that.
1-5. This is question 7.
It's gonna be 1-6.
Which school has made the most NCAA tournament appearances?
You already asked that.
No, what school has made the most NCAA tournament appearances? Not championships or not active streak. All
What?
time. Which school has made the most
Okay.
NCAA tournament appearances? Do you need me to read it again?
No, I got
Comprehension level's pretty low over here today. A, UCLA. B, Kentucky. C, North Carolina or Kansas. D, UCLA, Kentucky, Carolina or Kansas. Most NCAA tournament appearances.
Let me hear the teams one more time.
UCLA, Kentucky, North Carolina, or Kansas. Most NCAA
Okay, North
tournament
Carolina.
appearances.
Oh my
Beat
god.
Kentucky. They made 60.
It's even worse than I'm not even close. Like the other team I'm thinking about is not
Well,
the right team.
North Carolina was second with 52. Kentucky has the most with 60.
It was either them or UCLA.
No boy. All right, here we go. 6 straight L's, dude. You're like Tony Ferguson. What?
I'm like the Cowboys playoff appearance.
That's true. What was the first year the field expanded to 64 teams? What year was it the first year
my God.
they decided to expand to 64 teams? A, 1985, B, 1979, C, 1988, or D, 1975?
Oh, of course, all like right when I was born or not born.
85, 79, 88, 75.
75.
Oh, you got the right last number, but it
No!
was actually 1985 is what we were looking for. I heard that quite a bit.
Just
here
leave it on
today.
loop. Just leave it on
You
loop.
should just go and leave, all right? 1985, it expanded to 64
Gosh,
teams. All right,
these
two
are like
questions.
my these
two
are like my
questions
math.
left.
These are like my math tests here at Solano.
No,
Oh
you
my-
got one right on this. Number 9. Which of these players was not part of Michigan's Fab Five?
Okay,
A, Chris Webber.
no, it's him.
B, Jawan Howard.
I know he was.
C, Jimmy King, or D, Kenny Anderson? So basically, is it Jimmy King or Kenny Anderson?
Wait, Kenny Anderson from TNT?
No, different Kenny Anderson. That's Kenny Smith.
Oh God, I have no.
Kenny Smith went to Carolina.
Okay, at least you do. Is it like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Can I have like a 50-50? Can you knock 2 of
Yeah,
those
you
off?
can phone Christine.
Okay, we don't need to waste one here. I'm gonna go with Kenny.
I'm joking. You got it right.
Yeah! Woo!
Kenny Anderson went to Georgia
How are you
Tech.
gonna do me
He
like
went
that?
to Georgia Tech. I know. 10.
I only
Last-
said that because I thought it was the other Kenny,
I know.
and he went to Houston, right? I think for
he
college.
went- I legit just told you where he went. He went to North Carolina.
Oh yeah, duh! I knew that too.
Last one. Let's see if you can go 3 and 7. Which player owns the record for most points scored in a single NCAA tournament game?
Okay.
A, the Big O, Oscar Robertson. B, Austin Carr. C, Bill Bradley. Or D, Steph Curry? Big O, Austin Carr, Bill Bradley, or Steph? Most points in one tournament game.
I don't even know who Carr is. I'm gonna go with Curry. Oh my God.
Austin Carr went for 61.
Oh, of course, the guy I don't know. Who is that?
It's
Are you
Austin
taking
Carr.
me?
He went for 61 for Notre
Who did he
Dame.
play for Notre Dame?
In
Wait, let me guess.
112.
In 1984.
1970. 112, 82 win over Ohio. Bill Bradley was second with 58. He went for 58, 1965.
Are we done?
Yes, we are.
2 and 8.
2 and 8, bro. This
That's
is
not good.
perfect. This is gonna set you
20%?
up.
That's not even 20%.
This will set you up. I'll let you start with "Come On, Man."
This is good. Because if there's one come on man where I can get my anger out, think of it this way. If we had 100 people in a room and you asked them who's the biggest douchebag in the world, 50 people would say, you know who? Jake Paul! Jake Paul, you are the biggest punk, the biggest troll, the biggest dummy I've ever seen. And I would do anything. I would do anything.
Wrong camera.
Oh, wrong camera. I would do anything if you get knocked out by Tyson. In fact, I want to go in front of the camera. You got knocked out. Fuck out. Yeah, you'd say it. I'd say, bleep out. Please, please, Tyson, if there's anyone you could just knock out of oblivion, be Jake Paul. That's my come on, man. I hate this guy. Everyone hates this guy. I can't believe this is real. He's really going to fight Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, please, dude. If there's someone you could just knock the soul out of someone and just have them leave this earth and never come back, have it be Jake Paul.
How old is Mike? You just spit everywhere.
I know, sorry.
This poor cat.
I Sylvester Stallone is suffering succotash.
How old is Mike Tyson?
I know he's 57 because
57.
Paul's 27,
Yeah.
30 years older. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be such a punk.
I
If all you want to do is fight guys that are like 30 years past their prime, that's all you do. Because you know if you fought someone really good, you get knocked out.
I feel like
I hate
my come on man could be you. It could be either your trivia skills, you can't find the right camera, you're yelling into this
Spitting everywhere.
camera for about 45 minutes. You probably just ruined the color balance on that camera getting your face that close. But my come on man is Mikhail Graguge. I don't know if I said his name right. But this guy probably won't be fighting ever again. So, did you see what he did in the PFL? I was showing you it earlier.
You showed me earlier.
So, this dude making his PFL debut, on March 7th, this past Thursday in the heavyweight division against, let me see if I get this name right, Islam Musraf.
You sound like me doing names.
I know. Well, bro, I don't know who these people are, dog. Like, I'm probably never going to say this guy's name again. But, so this guy, the fight starts. He walks in. Just has his hands down all nonchalant, thinks he's going to act cool, look cool. Boom, 8 seconds in, eats a head kick for dinner, ground and pound. Homeboy is out cold. This is probably my best come on, man. Just watching this dude just look like an absolute idiot. Hopefully Jake Paul does the same thing against Mike Tyson, but this was easy for me for come on, man. This was the worst MMA performance I ever seen. This guy looked like a total idiot and got knocked out cold with a head kick. I don't think the PFL is going to be calling Mikhail Grugugie's name anymore. Come on, man. He's a beast. I'll go he's a beast, man. I'll let you close.
Let me get my
because you're the
spit, my
best at it.
breath
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
I actually got a little bit of spit too. I need some water. No, I'm joking. He's a beast, man. We were talking about homeboy earlier, man. I got a little MMA on my mind with UFC 299 coming up. Ilya Topuria is he's a beast. The performance he put on against Alexander Volkanovski, whew, that was one of the best knockouts I ever seen. Just a perfect combo. Knocked him out cold. Volk never lost before in that division, in that weight class. Dude's 15-0, 7-0 in the UFC, and I think the future is bright for Ilya Topuria. He's got big fights coming up. I would love to see him fight Max Holloway, like you said earlier. I would also love to see Volk get another chance at it. But Ilya Topuria, he's a beast. Who you got?
My beast is a beast you would not think is a beast. He is a beast that roams out of this country from another country. And when you come in the lane, you know what he does?
From another country.
He gives you we no, not in my house. Oh, I'm a little too love. Not today. I am talking about Victor Wembanyama, the French massacre. It's funny to me. The two scariest people in France was the littlest guy ever named Napoleon, and now the biggest guy ever named Victor Wembanyama. This guy is insane. He averages 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 3.5 blocks a game as a rookie. Are you kidding me? Oh, no, not today. Oda! This guy is one of the best Frenchmen I've ever seen. Little tulip not going to grow in my house. He's a monster. He's a madman. And he's a Frenchy Winchy. Mr. Victor Wembanyama, you're a beast, sir.
Bruh, I feel like I need an umbrella. I guess I don't got to take a shower tonight. I just got one. So.
You're a little too much spit for you.
That's it, man.
That's it. We out.
That was fun,
We
man. Little MLB predictions, little UFC talk, a little spit from JT. So
and a horrible quiz.
that's it, man. That's all the time we got. I'm Zack Poff, JT Blaze in the building. We'll be back with another episode here in the next few weeks or so. Until then, stay great, baby.
Come on, Tyson.
The exponential growth from the program from my first year to my third year now, that's what keeps me coming back and keeps me excited and just like fulfills me as a person.
It's so impressive, and we every time we walk in here, you guys are doing something different. It's great. It's
nothing but opportunities here, and we have sports to cover, we have the equipment.
Because the more ambitious you are, the more opportunities you'll have.
On-the-job training is huge.
Get the hands-on experience.
When someone asks who can do it, you know, you can raise your hand and say, I can do it. So
Joining the class was the best decision I ever made.
Stand by, we're going to go to cut one. And cut one. Cross court to Audrey Jones. Audrey for three! It is good! With 1.3 seconds left on the game clock, Audrey Jones with one of the biggest shots ever.
the sky's the limit, really, with what we can do here.
College just got affordable. Up to 100% of enrollment fees can be reimbursed for first-time college students taking full-time classes. At Solano Community College, we are taking full advantage of this to further your future. With certificate and degree programs in industrial technology, aeronautics, biotechnology, and many others, Solano Community College is a staple for success. For more information, please contact the Financial Aid Office at 707-864-7000.